Hey guys, here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for joining me while I review some reserve list cards. Please like and subscribe. It does help grow the channel. Let's get started. Okay, so the first card is General Jack Eld. I think I said that right, but it's impossible to tell. So he is a legendary creature, human soldier, 1/2. He costs 3 colorless, 1 white, and he has tap, switch the blocking creatures of 2 target attacking creatures. Activate this ability only during the declare blocker step. Oh boy. Okay, so he's obviously going to make combat maths a bit more complicated, and he is going to be annoying in a multiplayer game no matter what. He might be targeted because he's just a 1/2, but that's still going to possibly cost a card. He is 57 cents on TCG, but as everything else in the last couple of days is spiking. I don't know, like he makes things more complicated than he needs to be. It looks like he's muffled and captured, but it's really hard to tell with that art. I can't really tell what's going on. Is that meant to be around his mouth, or is that meant to be around his face so that it looks kind of cool? I don't know. But you guys let me know. I think this card is a bit complicated, but it's still kind of on the cheap side. It is from Ice Age. Moving on, Goblin Flotilla. Goblin Flotilla is 2 colorless, 1 red, creature Goblin 2/2. It has Island Walk at the beginning of each combat. Unless you pay 1 red whenever Goblin Flotilla blocks or becomes blocked by a creature this combat, that creature gains first strike until end of turn. Huh. It's a 3 mana 2/2 that has Island Walk. You have to play it 1 red each turn if you don't want it to be blocked by a first strike capable creature. But the thing is, islands are one of the most common colors in Commander because of how powerful they are. So this might just become a 3 mana 2/2 unblockable goblin, which with goblin being able to do consistent damage early on might actually be a good thing. I don't think this is the best card for goblins at 17 cents on the reserve list. He is moving up as everything else is, but I think just with how common islands are, this actually might not be a bad card. You guys can let me know on that one as well. Oh, creepy art. Okay. Grandmother Sengir. Homelands. She is a 4 colorless, 1 black. Summon Legend. Cool. 1 colorless, 1 black. Tap. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Uh, the art doesn't really do much for me. It's 20 cents on TCG. I just can't think of this as being a good card. Overall, it's 5 mana for a 3/3, where you had to pay an extra 2 mana to make another creature 1/1. I guess it gives you -1/-1. I guess it gives you reach. And can get rid of things like Birds of Paradise and Llanowar Elves and next stuff. But you had to, I mean, those creatures come out in turn 1. So, you're paying 5 mana plus another 2, 7 mana to remove a -1/-1 creature. Nah. Pass on this one. Moving on, Grave Bind, Ice Age. Grave Bind is 1 black, instant. Target creature cannot regenerate this turn. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Yeah, regenerate used to be a big thing, didn't it? So, I like the fact that it cantrips for 1 black mana. Regenerate is not exactly something that's very impressive, but I guess if a Golgari Grave Troll, which is one of the more powerful cards that I've got in my decks, which has regenerate, comes out, and does that stop it? Yeah, it says it can't do it for this turn. So removing a +1/+1 counter from it would actually just have the same effect. It would just die to removal or something like that, and this cantrips after. 32 cents on TCG, but I actually am not too sure about this one. This one feels like an okay card where it cantrips and you can target any creature anyways. If you think it's a wasteful card, then you just target a creature and get a card the next turn. And it says draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Does that mean the next player's? It doesn't say your turn. So it literally cantrips the second your turn's over. Okay, interesting card. You guys let me know on that one as well. Oh boy, wall of text. Hakim Lowweaver, Mirage. Hakim is 3 colorless, 2 blue. He is a 2/4 with flying. Not bad. Actually, not good either, but he's not bad just because of the fact that he's got some cool abilities. So he's got pay 2 blue, return target aura card from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to Hakim. Low Weaver. Activate this ability only during your upkeep and only if Hakim isn't enchanted. Cool. It doesn't say pay for that card's cost. If you can get some pretty good aura cards into your graveyard and get them back out with Hakim, you can save a lot of mana depending on the power of those aura cards. Next one. Pay 2, tap, destroy all auras attached to Hakim. I'm not too sure why you'd want that unless it's like a negative aura given to him by someone else. You still had to tap him for that, so there's limitations. I feel like it's a very gimmicky card, this one, but it's a pretty interesting build around, especially if you have some colorless aura cards like the Eldrazi one. You can get that Eldrazi one into the graveyard, assuming it doesn't say something like it comes back into your library once it gets into your graveyard. And then see if you can cheat it out instead of paying 10 mana or whatever it was, 8 mana. Cheat it out for 2 and see if you can swing into someone and get them to tilt on the table. But I don't know. You guys can let me know on the build arounds for this, but I feel like it's a good card. Or at least interesting. Moving on, Heart of Bogarden. Heart of Bogarden is 2 colorless, 2 red, enchantment from Weatherlight. Cumulative upkeep, pay 2. If Heart of Bogarden cumulative upkeep cost is not paid, it deals damage equal to its last paid cumulative upkeep to the target player and each creature he or she controls. So you immediately want to pass this to someone else when it's got a lot of cumulative upkeep costs built on top of it. So if this card is on the field and then you have Zedri or other cards that can give it to someone else as an exchange, and you paid 3 or 4 turns, and then you give it to someone else, and then they can't do anything with it, will it just deal damage to them more and more? Because it doesn't say destroy this card, it just says it builds every turn on top of that. So I feel like this is actually a pretty powerful card, except whoever you're going to give it to is going to be very, very annoyed. TCG player 50 cents, it seems like a very mean card, but I feel like it's interesting. I know I said that word again, but this one feels complicated and you can probably use it the right way to get some value out of it. Moving on, Heart Wolf. 3 colorless, 1 red. Summon Wolf. Cool. First strike. Tap. Target dwarf gains first strike and gets +2/+0 until end of turn. If that dwarf leaves play this turn, bury Heart Wolf. Use this ability only when attack or defense is announced. 3 mana, 4 mana for a 2/2 first strike is terrible. Giving a dwarf first strike is okay, but the fact that it comes with a clause when the dwarf dies, it dies is terrible. Giving a dwarf +2/+0 and first strike is pretty good. It's just that if you're playing a thematic deck with either one of those, you probably don't want to just have a card like this sitting around where it's not very useful on the turn it enters. 29 cents. It feels pretty gimmicky. I don't know what the value is. This one is moving pretty fast from slow from Homelands. Next one. Ibis of the Scale. 3 colorless, 2 red. Spiking like crazy. So you may choose not to untap Ibis of the Scale during your untap phase. Tap. Gain control of target dragon. If Hybis becomes untapped or you lose control of Hybis, lose control of that dragon. Too bad it doesn't say sacrifice that dragon, but very specific deck. You can only play it when the opponent has a dragon deck, and then you pretty much need to have a dragon deck to get the best benefit out of this. But you're probably going to be only in red. It's got a lot of limitations. It might be okay in a dragon deck where you can expect to steal other people's, but most dragons are legends. So many hoops to jump through. I like the other one, which says look in your library for a random dragon card and put into play or something. He's 50 cents on TCG. He is moving up pretty fast. I just don't know what the value is for this guy, but you guys can let me know. Moving on, Homarid Shaman. It looks like a big shellfish, but okay. Fallen Empires. It is a 2 colorless, 2 blue, 2/1. Yeah. Pay 1 blue, tap target green creature. Ugh. Good and bad, annoying, 30 cents. There's not really much to say about it. It's a very specific card. If you did it and you annoyed enough people, I guess you can get whatever's coming to you after that. But I just don't feel like it's a good card. It's okay. Eh, yeah, pretty much. Moving on. Hot Springs, Ice Age. That art actually looks pretty good. Hot Springs, one colorless, one blue. When Hot Springs comes into play, choose target land you control. Pay 0, tap land Hot Springs enchants 2. Prevent 1 damage to any creature or player. That's pretty bad, right? It's 2 mana onto a land, and then you have to tap the land to prevent 1 damage. So it takes up that land. So you can't even use it for combat, to pay for spells. That feels like a terrible card. It is moving up fast, 30 cents on TCG, but I feel like some of these extreme moves are from manipulations. Something to keep an eye on, and something I will keep an eye on as well. I've always heard it happening, and now I've actually seen it in real life. And have a look at my MTG Madness thing and go, what is going on with some of these cards which have $200 extra added to their value for no reason in the last couple of days. Moving on. Icantian Lieutenant, or Licantian Licantian Lieutenant. Okay. I'm pretty sure I said that one wrong. Two white. Summon soldier. One colorless, one white. Target soldier gets +0, +1, +0 until end of turn. Sorry, that really tongue-tied my mouth. There is no limits to how many times you can pump it, but soldiers themselves are not really a thing in Commander as far as I can tell. Humans are. Knights we're trying to be, but soldiers themselves, I can't remember any, like specific card about that. 30 cents on TCG, moving up a bit, but it doesn't really feel like a good card. The art is okay, pretty detailed, pretty cool for hand drawn, but nothing interesting or fancy about this card. Anyways, guys, leave it that. I'm going to leave it at that. And thanks for joining me again. Please like and subscribe. It really does help. And I'll keep making more of this content. And hopefully you guys like it. Thanks again.